Okay, so you are here today with Anna and Udita, and we are so freaking excited. I'm really excited. I've been waiting for this we are supposed to do it last week for my birthday, and I'm just like, oh my God, yes, we're gonna, because we haven't done a live together in a really long time. And I just love the conversation. I love what we're sharing. And today we're diving into something so freaking deep. Have you had those moments where it's the exact same situation, or you're feeling so, depleted and like you're going into this low, but then you realize, like, wait a second, I'm not choosing that anymore. So it can be the exact same situation. However, you realize that, like, wait a second, I'm not the same person that I was who would be brought down by these things, who would get sucked into the story, but instead you rise. So you may be, hearing this and be like, oh my God, yes, that's me. And you may be like, no, how do you do that? So we're gonna cover both because, like, there is that validation, when someone else goes through this, there's like, oh my God, yes, that's me. Like, oh, this is possible for everybody. And that's possible. Like, it's not a lucky thing. I know for me, it's important whenever I have like a win or something just really works. I want to go into, how is this replicable? How do I repeat this? Right? Because sometimes, like, oh my God, this was a happy accident. I feel so good about life. It's not a happy accident. Like, there was a system. What did you do? And so that's why we want to share this with you, because whether it's like you experiencing this, sometimes you're like, it's amazing. How do I get back to this regularly? Or whether you're there like, I have no idea how to do that, you are in the right place. So Udita, how about you
Mm.
start us off? Because this was your experience that I was just so excited about. So yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a little story to start with. Yesterday, I got the news that the house I'm living in might go for a sale. And immediately I was just thinking, okay, well, I have to figure out what to do. But then I dropped it and I went to sleep and I just sleep is the best healer. So I didn't think about it. And
It's
this
like everything's
morning,
wiped clean. It's like, there are no worries. Yeah.
yes, yeah, no worries within the sleep. And then I woke up and I had a viewing here this morning, and it kind of hit me to seeing like those people like walking around the property, being in the place where I live, my sacred space. And I just, it doesn't like, even though they look like a really nice people, it didn't feel right. And I
It's like, you look really
immediately,
nice, but I don't like
yeah,
you.
yeah. So immediately my mind went into like overthinking, stressing out, looking for different houses, for different like options, moving to a different country, different city, and just like really running these different scenarios, how to like, take that power back to me and just like have it in under the control.
Mm.
And I was today was my business day. So basically, I spent the whole day by thinking what to do about the situation, which is not happening right now. And then I realized, okay, I'm going out and I'm going to lie on a sunbed because it's my week when I'm menstruating, supposed to be menstruating. Then I'm waiting for my period. And I just realized, okay, what if I just lie down and I just relax for a bit, let the sun shine on my skin? And I was just lying and like relaxing. And then I just realized, well, I don't have the news that this house is sold. It's not happening right now. Everything is okay. Why do I need to overthink everything? Why do I need to just pre-plan all the scenarios? Why do I need to think about everything? Why do I need to be stressing and freaking out? And that was my old version who was like always acting that way. And this time I was able to caught it and just see it, and as soon as I dropped it, I felt so good. I felt like whatever, everything will be all right. Something will happen. It's just okay. So that's what my day was about today.
I absolutely love it. And you brought so many important points. I actually jotted down just because I want to kind of create a structure. And okay, like, why did this work? And so some of you may be listening, it's like, so the solution is not to care. Like, what? Here's the thing though, with that, because we try to, and this is what you said, right? It's like, the old me would have gone into this, how do I shift the circumstances? How do I, like, I feel shitty right now. My outer environment is changing. How do I control my outer environment? Because, like, my safety is in the outer environment. Or, we have some, like, we're triggered by other people. It's like, how do I change this person so that I feel good about my life? And instead it was like, wait, what if I don't try to shift my environment? So I feel like that was one key that I was just like, I love that you shifted that. You're like, I don't need to do that. And
Mm.
this came from, I mean, like you've done so much inner work on yourself, and this came from this kind of a connection to life, wouldn't you say? I mean, like I mean, I know that because that's what you're teaching people. This is like the work that we do together as well. Um, this like, wait a second, it's not out there, and you can try so hard to control things and then freak out every single time something out there goes wrong. And another thing that I love what you said was well, two more things. Like one, just listening to your body, that you're like, oh yeah, right, circumstances are happening, let's go, 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 I'm supposed to do this. And this is important for men and for women, by the way. So for women, getting, okay, it's that time of the month, or it's my time of the month where because it doesn't matter, like where you are in your cycle, we react so differently to that. There's like this, like, okay, this is by the book, but some people feel the complete opposite. Let's say they feel energized when it's that period in their cycle. And so men as well, understanding that you're not supposed to like go, go, go and be in that default state all the time. It's like, oh yeah, this is how I react to things, or I'm a go-getter all the time, or like I'm passive all the time. It's like noticing the cycles, because again, it's more difficult for men to feel this, but we all go through these cycles, and learning to work with ourselves. You're not a machine that's supposed to be on the go, go, go. And understanding where those times, because again, we live in cycles. Human beings just live in cycles. Um, and men and women through the month, things fluctuate. So noticing that and listening to that. I love that you did that. That you're like, right, I have to do this. Like, wait a second, it's my time. Like, it's my body's time to rest right now. I get to do that. I get to own that. I love that you said that. And then last thing is it's like, wait a second, it's not happening now. Like, it's not happening now. And I know that was totally me in the past, of just when I knew something was coming in, like, I don't know, 3 months. And I was like, right, let's start to do this. Let's like prepare. And this is again the mind going into like not trusting life, and going into, let's create the illusion of safety, that like I've got this. Okay. Like because I'm prepared for this one thing, the ego's like, I've got life. I've got life all figured out. And I don't need to worry, and I'm safe. It's like, no, because that safety comes from within. That safety comes not from trying to control the things on the outside, or dealing with things 5 years in advance, but actually being here now. Is like, can I trust the present moment? And I love that you did that so powerfully, like just trusting the present moment. And if you're listening to this and you're like, right, but nothing, like there was no actual solution. So I do have a tangible example where there was a solution, and I was like, there's still resistance to that. I mean, we can have, and I'm sure you've had this in your own life, you've done, like those watching, when things work out and you're like, oh my God, God's got me, or life, or whatever word you want to use, like this higher thing has got me. And you have this validation. And then the next time when the doubt kicks in, you're like, oh, but why? What if this time it doesn't catch me? And I totally recently had that a few months ago, as I was having something going on that was really important. And there was like this deadline that, like, I really, like, my mind was going into, you should really take some action steps right now. And I get this guidance like, just feel good, just focus on your frequency. And that has really been my lesson this year, deepening into that so much, because they say like, oh, frequency first, and like, the things outside of you will align. And that's a really scary thing to trust. So this year, my experience was actually like, okay, in little sprints, because it's terrifying. This is really like an important key here. It's terrifying for your mind to go into, I'm going to change my life from now on. I'm going to trust and surrender from now on. And it's like, do that in little sprints. So I had those little sprints of like, okay, for the 3 months, I'm not going to worry about anything. Let's just, as an experiment, see what happens. And life has been freaking incredible. And do you feel like, now I'm like, oh, okay, well, I can trust life? No, I still doubt. And I still have this like, all right, I have to kind of have these little sprints again, because it doesn't feel comfortable trusting, but we open up to that. So that was really and those things did work out, by the way. Like that thing that was like, oh, but it's a deadline, shouldn't I do something? It's like, no, just feel good, just focus on feeling good. And at the end of that, like, as I was it was like a test that I had to do, and I was just like, I actually got higher than what I needed for it was for some paperwork. And I was just like, oh, it did work out. How silly of me. Apparently you don't need to overthink and control and think that. It's that you don't think your way through life, you feel through it. Your point of creation comes just from frequency. Everything's frequency. So that was really an eye opener for me, and that's what it shifted for me. Yudita, what is that for you? How, if you want to add anything to this, or how would you identify this, like, yes, this is why I'm able to do it? Like, how is the old version of you different from the you that you are now?
I believe that it's actually the shift happened when I started connecting to my breath and really like, tapping into my body. So I actually in some way believe that there is a solution to when you are freaking out and stressing out, because when you are freaking out and stressing out, you are usually not in your body. You
Mm,
are usually stuck in your head.
yeah.
So I believe that's what I was doing. So I believe that now I really tap into my body and like ask myself, what do I feel like, is there actually something I can do, like, for my frequency as I, like, lie down today on a sunbed or a little bit on the grass and connected with the earth. Um, I went into the self-care, into nourishing my body and nourishing my soul. But previously, it would be just me being stuck in my head and just like, doing nothing about it and just hoping that the things will work out. And now, when I'm actually thinking about it, what is coming is I believe that these ones are like these situations which are happening are like little tests, which are actually really like testing me if I'm trusting the life that the life gets me. And I've been now experiencing it for a few weeks and had some miracles happen like in last few weeks where I was just like, oh my God, if I actually really like focus on a positive stuff and I just like, vision myself of like that the situation I'm going through everything will be okay. And I'm just like, replaying it over again in my head. It really does happen. And this is like, today, I feel like it's another, like a little test, which is testing me if I trust that everything will be okay, that there is something else unfolding, and I don't have to know what it is. But that's not my job to know what it is. There is just my job is just to be here and experience it like step by step as it's happening, and just adjusting to the situation as it's happening, I believe. Yeah.
I
So I
love
don't know
that you
if I
said that with the no, that answers again. I love that you're like, it's not my job. And just like that is huge right there, because for a lot of people it isn't. It's like, no, but if I don't do it, no, but like it doesn't get done. It's like, but life does.
mm,
It's like, yeah, life is not really reliable. So it's like, I don't
mm,
want to trust my well-being to life. And I have to do
mm,
it, and I have to figure it out. And I mean, I share this with you, off video, that for me it's such a this transition that was like, from, because I'm a doer. I'm just like, okay, well, if I want something, there's definitely this gathering up the courage, or like tuning into the heart first. Like, are you taking inspired action, or is it this like tunnel vision of like, no, I think this is right? It's like, no, are you connecting with your heart first? Um, so when I have this vision, like, ooh, this is what's right, I'm a doer. So like I take those action steps. And right now it's been more coming into, what if I don't? Like, what if I don't know the best way in which this will come through? And what if me kind of actually like doing, like, I want to say, because I don't want to talk people out of, it's like, this isn't, okay, well, just sit on your couch and wait for, I don't know, $1 million to fall on your head. It's like not lack of action, but just this invitation to co-create with life. That sometimes when you're like, oh, okay, this is what I should do. Um, it's not the easiest, most aligned case. And when you actually allow that spaciousness to, what if I don't have to take action right now? Ooh, this is what it is. What if I don't have to take action unless like I feel like it's a hell freaking yes, when as my
mm,
frequency is at the highest? Because we kind of go into like, okay, well, I could do this, or this kind of feels right. And we rush into the action step before we are actually connected to source, God, life, source consciousness. And we're not at our optimal, like we're not performing at our optimum, because it's like it's not led by us, it's not created through us, but like our mind still has a say in there. And I want to
mm,
emphasize one thing that you said, which was so powerful. You're like, I would be overthink, like in the past you would be overthinking and not actually doing anything. So as
mm,
I'm listening, sorry, one second, I just want to like make this point, because like as I'm listening to you, I'm hearing people and like the old self being like, Okay, so your solution to the problem was just like to lay on the sunbed? It's like, well, what was before the solution to the problem? Thinking about the thousand scenarios of all the things that have to be wrong and stress out and not do anything about them because so much of your energy would have been spent on just thinking and stressing, and like the action step from that isn't aligned with your heart. It's not the right action step. So yeah, what were
Hmm.
you gonna say? Because you had something pop up there.
Yeah, actually, I just realized when we were talking that prior all this situation which was happening, like getting the message from the landlady, that there's somebody like the house for a sale and there's somebody coming for the viewing. I just realized that prior to that, few hours before that, I was creating a vision board where I was putting all the pictures of my dream houses. Yeah, all
So
the
it's like
dream
I want to move,
houses.
and then it happens, and you're like, oh, I don't like this. Yeah, go ahead.
That fast. Yeah, so I just like, took all the magazines with the interior design and the houses, and I really, really was stepping into feeling what I really like and what I want. And I just really like took that time, and there was a really big magazines, like some of them really big, and I got few pictures, and I have beautiful vision board, and now I realized what if I actually like called it like what if I called it in like the whole situation, you
Oh my
know?
God, I love this because
Yeah.
when you just first went before we started recording, you just told me that. She just told me that. She was like, "Okay, so our house being put on sale." I'm like, "Well, that's what you wanted." She's like, "Well, I wanted more time." And this is what happens. Like, this is what happens because the mind goes into like, and I've had this. I've actually recently spoken about this in August. I had one client that was just like so tuned in to what they want, and it's like, hell yes, I know what I want. I know what it feels like. It's amazing. It's delicious. And then it like their life, the current life falls apart and they're like, what the hell's happening? It's like, it's good. Just don't freak out. Don't lose your shit right now. Like be in that high frequency, maintaining your eye on that which you want. Like do not lose your shit right now. And that's so important. And a lot of us, like, we're so clear. And I know that I've had this in my past, like in just past situations as well. It's like we're so crystal clear. And then what we have starts falling apart and we're like, no. That is so freaking exciting. And I love that the magazines, and you're like, I really took my time with this. I actually wanted to tell you before we start recording, like I love going on Pinterest sometimes and just like having, because that's a place to get lost in and really go into like, ooh, because I love interior design, for example. It's like, what are those things that light me up? And like even though my home already like looks like what like it really deeply resonates, not that I need to change anything, I just like to look at this like, ooh, like this feels really good, or this is really pretty, or the like these destinations for traveling inspire me. And like that really gets me into that frequency. And I feel like that's what you just communicate. Like, I really took my time with this one. And yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm like, well, I asked, I got delivered.
And
What
now
am
I'm
I
upset about
complaining
it. Like,
for?
why did the delivery come
Yeah.
so fast? I didn't want it. I love
Yeah,
it.
so it's quite interesting how it works, and
I actually want to
yeah.
leave this at the, I want to leave this as an action step for the people watching at
Hmm.
exactly this. Like,
Hmm.
bring that to awareness. Like what you Dita just discovered during this live. Like, wait a second, I actually wanted it like a few seconds before. And I've had that overnight. Like I got some clarity and then I went to bed and I wake up in the morning and this thing is like out of my life. I was like, oh shit. But also like, oh, this is good because it's just like that wasn't in alignment. So my question would be to those watching and let us know below. Um, First of all, how you've been doing that? Like, have you had those situations? Really think about those things where you're like, when did things start falling apart? Ooh, that's actually a really interesting one, right? Because we focus on when did things go great? When did things start falling apart? And what was before that? Because the odds are those big shifts, when it seems like life is falling apart, they happen for you. They don't happen against you. They
Hmm.
happen for you. And it's actually like, but the resistance, like you're not allowing it. And I love you, Dita, like I love your awareness of that it happened right now as we were filming, that it was just like, oh, I
Oh
asked
yeah,
for
actually,
this.
yeah.
But it's so fast. And we're like,
And I
and you
forgot that
forgot.
I asked for it because it was so fast. That sometimes
Because it was
happens
so
to me.
fast, right? Because first of all, there's
Yeah.
this illusion like, oh no, I have to struggle for this. Or like, ooh, this destination is so nice. Or like, ooh, this house. And you're like, oh, I'm gonna have to work years for it. It's like, no, it can, like, you can manifest that quickly when you're in alignment. But there's that, like, life is gonna push you. It's like, oh, this is what you wanted here. And you're like, no, 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 no. I don't want that yet. So where are you doing this? Have you noticed those moments in your life? And the action step would be, how can you open up more to life? And now my personal advice for that would be just like raise your frequency. So in any moment, like whether you're there feeling amazing, how much better can this moment get? Or if you're feeling like, shit's hitting the fan, and you're like, this is not what I wanted. How can you feel amazing? How can you go into like, this is life working for me, and which way is it doing? And Yudita, anything that you could recommend those watching of like, how would you, what is that, what would that look like for you? Like whether shit hits the fan or you're
Mm,
feeling amazing, how do you raise your frequency? And you said that that's more coming into the body for you was like a physical practice, because I gotta go on a mental level. My account
yes.
on Instagram is like the spiritual analyst. There's some analysis in there. For you, it's more in the body.
Yeah.
So what would that be for you?
Actually, for me, it would be like have fun with it. Like
Mm.
when you actually like doing something or you want something or you are creating something, have fun with it. Don't take it seriously. I was like going through these magazines and I had a fun with it. I even picked like beautiful like earrings, like, and I was like, yeah, this looks like a fun, I probably wouldn't ever wore those, but I was just having fun with it. It wasn't that I was feeling like, "Oh my god, if I don't have this, I failed," or "I don't believe in the universe," or whatever. I
It's like
just
if I
really
put that on
enjoyed
my
it.
vision board, then I'm committing to it. I had that one, that was a
Yes.
big block for me. I was like, oh my God, like if
Yeah.
I speak that I want this, I'm a failure if I don't
And
achieve it. Yeah.
exactly. Have fun with it. Like our teacher Veronica says, like play in the sandbox, just have fun with it. Just like don't take it seriously. Maybe write it even on a piece of paper and see what's gonna happen, because sometimes you will be surprised if you do that. And even with your self-care, it doesn't have to be like, it can be just a fun day at the playground with your children. It doesn't have to be something like, like big. Just maybe bring yourself back to being that little child, because we actually
Mm.
are children living in the adult's life, like adults' bodies, and we keep forgetting, and we keep like, thinking that we have to be all serious and just like, act like as a somebody. But actually what I realize is that we are all children in in the adults' bodies. Yeah.
I
Mm.
absolutely love what you just said. First of all, it's like shining the light. It's like you're here to have fun. Like that's your natural essence. You don't have to be pretending to be somebody. And that's what it is, right? We're like, I'm pretending
Mm.
I'm serious. I'm pretending I have my shit together. It's like you don't. No, nobody has their shit
Mm.
together. Like we're all figuring it out and we're all having fun with it.
Mm.
But
Mm.
that's the thing. Like some aren't figuring, like some aren't, we're all figuring out, but some aren't having fun with it. It's like, I have to figure it out. And it's like this pressure. It's like, no, it's a fun process. And you get to choose. And this is what I really heard you say with that last one. It's like choose to play. It doesn't come, like we're waiting for. It's like, well, I'm gonna play when the circumstances align. Or I was totally a shy child growing up, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna play when they call me over, and then they call me over, and then I'm gonna be able to play. And I was like, no, I'm just like, I'm giving myself permission to play. Like I'm getting myself permission to be excited about life, and where we can do more of that. I absolutely love that. I love that you brought the element
Mm.
of play. So thank you
Mm.
for that.
Oh, welcome.
All right, guys. So, oh my God, this has been so good. I love it. Just so much wisdom, so much goodness. So I hope that we can do another live soon. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Again, let us know in the comments below. And if you can, let us know, like, first of all, have you caught yourself in that where you're like, you created what you wanted and you're like, oh, that was too fast, or that was too scary, or that was too soon. And like, I don't want that. And second, what does that look like for you? So like bring your frequency up. What is that tangible action step? Because first of all, when you're writing that, you're like reaffirming it for you, and you're also inspiring others when you're writing in the comment section. It's like, oh yeah, that's also like, or like what you did say, like it can be that simple. It's just like, spend the day at a playground with your kids. Or I actually have a favorite swing even without my kids. So I'm like, spend the day on the playground without the kids. If you don't have kids, like do that anyway. And like, go and swing or slide or something. Remember that inner child. So thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.